Sean Perri, and I'm a freelance digital artist. I was born in Fullerton, California, and I grew up in Georgia, around Kennesaw. Moved there when we were 5 years old. I'm an artist by trade now, very recently, actually. My profession now is freelance. Most of the work that I do is just for bands and stuff. I got an early start working with a lot of bands on their designs when I was working in screen printing, so that's what kind of gave me the idea. I've kind of always done it, but really recently I went 100% freelance, so it kind of jumped off the 40-hour-a-week boat. Honestly, it's one of those things that you always do, and the more it's reinforced, the more you do it. I began doing this thing, full-time for rent money a couple months ago. The work that I do is all digital. I actually haven't done any traditional work in over a year now. Digital is kind of the biggest thing right now. It's much easier to work with, and there's a lot more that you can do with it a lot faster. Early reinforcement when, I was an artist, growing up, learning to draw as a kid, and the more that's reinforced, the more you end up doing it. And the process that I go through kind of changes just whenever, you really feel like it. I mean, there's no really set process to digital art. Like, there's always one specific way to do an oil painting, but in digital art, it's kind of way more open-ended. And that's really what I like about it. There's always this sort of sense of not being good enough. So I don't think any artist really likes anything they do. And that's kind of why you keep, increasing that skill level. My go-to style, if I have one, my style is kind of all over the place. The style that I enjoy most, I guess, would probably be really fast work. With digital, it's a lot easier to throw any color down that exists as fast as you can pick the color. So there's actually a really big following for specifically that, speed painting, where you try to, knock out an entire composition, render the parts that need it, and leave out the parts that don't. But it's kind of like a speed trial, so it forces you to make something work, establish those values, get an initial feel down as fast as possible. And part of my routine when I warm up for the day is I'll do like 3 30-minute long speed paints. The narrative of any of the work that I do, be it for a band, illustration for like comics or whatever, and even just drawing dorky video game stuff, which is how a lot of people start. Being able to establish a narrative of whatever I'm doing, I think that all art should carry a narrative, be it for a band's t-shirt design, album covers, or anything like that. Most of the work that I do is specifically for entertainment purposes, and it's all illustration, not really art by art's means. Just do it. Just draw, paint, start drawing what you like. Keep doing that until you start, fleshing out the way that you work. The feeling that I get when I complete a piece kind of varies depending on how I thought that I did on that piece. And, anytime you, say this is finished, you know that you can still work on it for another, 20 hours. Like, nothing's ever really finished until you're like, well, I don't want to work on that anymore. So a lot of times I'll achieve that feeling of just like, I don't need to work on this anymore. That'll happen pretty early. Other times I'll struggle with a piece for hours and hours and hours, but the feeling I get is usually not much more than, thank God I'm done with that. As a stress outlet, art is, it's pretty therapeutic, but at the same time, the amount of attention that you need to pay to what you're doing doesn't really allow for a relaxed environment, unless you're just screwing around and throwing things down or doing speed paint things. Anything that you do that's disposable is super therapeutic, but anything that you do that's important is usually a heart attack. In the future, I'd really like to get into illustrating specifically for things like the gaming industry would be awesome. Not video games, but like role-playing games. Anybody who's ever opened up a D&D book, sees tons of awesome art, and that's kind of what got me into the idea of doing this professionally is because those types of things are always coming out and they always need tons of work, and it's usually really cool subject matter, so it doesn't leave you bored anytime you work on it. Usually I don't like worshiping specific artists, but there are a couple artists that I really, really admire. One of them is Dave Raposa. He has done a lot of work for the entertainment industry, and he's really cool because he'll actually put out these tutorials that not only show like a better way to work digitally, but it shows, or he talks a lot about the industry itself and what you need to do to survive as an artist. So the tutelage of Dave Raposa actually set me in a pretty good direction. One thing that he reinforces is, doing what you like, because there's this belief that the more you like what you do and the more you do what you like, the more other people are going to like what you do. As far as advice that I would give to other artists thinking about, jumping off and doing this professionally, is just do it. Like, it's super scary. It sucks at times, especially when you're starting out, especially when you're starting to acquire clients. It's terrifying, but no matter how hard it is when you first start out, it will always be 10 times better than, slaving away at a job that you hate. Doing what you like to do every day makes every aspect of your life 10 times better. It's always different every day, and it's kind of what I've always wanted to do. Being an artist kind of sucks, but I like it.